day to day is I've got this family in my house with my wife, Robin, and we have a day-to-day, we have an experience. Every summer, the girls.
What if I told you the so-called best friend bond between Christine and Janelle has never truly existed? That what we're watching now isn't healing, but decades of resentment boiling over, masked as sisterhood and weaponized as rivalry. From the very first moments of the latest episode, the tension between Janelle and Christine wasn't something subtle. You had to squint to notice it was right there, pulsing beneath every word, every glance, every sarcastic aside. And this isn't about grief, though grief lingers in the background. This is about history-long, complicated, jagged history that can't be smoothed over by platitudes about sisterhood. Their relationship has never been one of equals. Janelle has always been the reserved, introverted, work-focused wife, the one who presented herself as rational, the sensible one. Christine, on the other hand, has always been the emotional, expressive, and admittedly dramatic wife, the one who wanted to host, nurture, and be recognized. To Janelle, Christine's warmth read as over-the-top. To Christine, Janelle's coldness read as cruel. And those labels, diva, princess, bossy, manipulative, have haunted their relationship for decades. The cameras never erased them. If anything, the cameras recorded every unspoken wound and stored it for us to revisit now. Christine has never forgotten how Janelle used her. It's not exaggeration, it's Christine's own words. When Janelle worked, Christine was expected to shoulder the full responsibility of Janelle's children on top of her own. And when Christine needed help, Janelle wasn't there. That dynamic wasn't mutual support, it was extraction. Christine gave, Janelle took. And then, after years of quietly resenting the imbalance, Christine was labeled dramatic for daring to be upset. That's not friendship. That's exploitation disguised as partnership. And here's the cruel irony. The very thing that tied them together wasn't love, but their shared misery with Cody. They bonded over being ignored, mistreated, dismissed. They bonded over being second, third, or fourth place in a man's hierarchy of affection. They bonded over being left to raise kids while Cody played king. That's not a real foundation. That's trauma bonding. And now, with Cody out of the picture, what's left? Nothing but raw friction. Nothing but the truth. And then came the moment that ripped the mask off. Janelle didn't just jab Christine, she jabbed David. The one man who gave Christine back her light. That wasn't shade. That was sabotage. This is where Janelle revealed her true hand. Her words about David weren't harmless observations. They were calculated insults, dressed up in calm delivery. She called him charming, but with an ego. She called him blustery. At first glance, that might sound playful, even affectionate, but the word choice was surgical. Blustery doesn't mean fun or competitive. It means empty. It means fake confidence. It means weakness, hiding behind bravado. According to definitions, it describes someone who talks loudly, boasts often, but lacks real strength. In short, it's a dismissal way of saying, this man you love is all hot air. And then she went further. She compared David to Cody. Let that sink in. Christine spent years under Cody's arrogant thumb. She cried over his cruelty, battled his favoritism, endured his neglect. Cody belittled her so deeply that she doubted her worth. And now she finally finds David the man who listens, who laughs, who comforts her through grief, and Janelle dares to lump him into the same category as Cody. That isn't just an insult to David. That's an attack on Christine's happiness. It's saying the man you've chosen is no better than the man who broke you. For Christine, that's the ultimate betrayal. And here's the reality check. David is nothing like Cody. Cody is arrogance personified, controlling, dismissive, and cruel. David is playful, sensitive, tender. When Garrison passed away, David, who barely knew him, stood beside Christine in her grief. He didn't center himself, didn't make it about him. He quietly supported, quietly cared, quietly absorbed her pain. That is not bluster. That is not ego. That is empathy. So why did Janelle twist it? Because Janelle fights differently than Christine. Christine argues openly, with emotion. Janelle slips poison into compliments. She says something nice, adds a but, and cuts deeper than an outright insult ever could. It's manipulation cloaked in sophistication. And make no mistake, this wasn't about David, this was about Christine. This was about undermining Christine's sense of stability, about chipping away at her confidence in her new life. Because if Christine has the better marriage, the better partner, the happier ending, what does that make Janelle? Alone, left behind, outshined. And Janelle has never been okay with that. So here's the truth. Christine and Janelle aren't best friends. They never were. They are survivors turned rivals. Bound not by love, but by scars, and scars don't heal into friendship. They harden into battle lines. That's why Janelle's sudden dream of creating a family gathering place in North Carolina stings so badly. The role of hostess, gatherer, unifier has always been Christine's domain. Christine built the emotional glue of the family. She created the safe spaces, the laughter, the warmth. Now Janelle is stepping into that role, claiming it, trying to rewrite herself as the matriarch of unity. And Christine knows it. That's why she joked about a gang war over who can gather more people. That wasn't a joke. That was an admission. An admission that her territory is being invaded, her identity challenged. For Christine, Janelle isn't just building lands, she's building over Christine's legacy. And that's why their so-called friendship feels hollow. Because it isn't friendship at all. It's rivalry dressed in civility. It's competition hidden under polite smiles. It's sisterhood in name only. And when you strip away the production, the talking heads, the stage dinners, what you're left with is raw sibling rivalry, the kind that doesn't end with a hug but with a silent scorecard. Christine versus Janelle, Utah versus North Carolina, suburbs versus homestead, David versus Cody. And no matter how much they pretend otherwise, they both want to win. So no, they're not best friends. They're not even true allies. They are sisters turned opponents. Bonded by a shared past, but divided by a future where only one gets to be the center of the family's story. And if you think this ends in peace, you're wrong. Because Christine and Janelle aren't on the same team anymore. They're on opposite sides of the battlefield, smiling, sipping wine, and plotting quietly against each other. What happens when two women who once shared a husband now try to share the role of matriarch? You don't get sisterhood. You get war zones disguised as family dreams. This latest chapter of Sister Wives doesn't just show us an argument over acreage or a couple of sarcastic remarks over dinner. It gives us a glimpse into a much bigger war, the battlefield. A patch of undeveloped land in North Carolina that Janelle sees as her next big dream. To outsiders, it may look like a simple family property. But to Janelle, it's everything. Independence, renewal, a new family hub, a way to prove that even though she left Cody, she can still create something that lasts. For years, Janelle was the practical one, the workhorse. The one who built spreadsheets and crunched numbers while others handled the kids or the household details. She's always seen herself as a builder of futures. And now, Tata Farms is supposed to be the crown jewel of her legacy. But when Christine steps onto that land, she doesn't see dreams. She sees a trap. She sees unfinished projects, invisible infrastructure, unending work, and the same cycle she lived through before. Christine has been here. She's seen big brown family visions fall apart in Vegas, in Flagstaff. Even back in Leahy, she remembers the promises of Coyote Pass, their forever homes. The big family compound visions that turned to dust. And she's not going to invest her heart into another pipe dream, especially one that Janelle is leading. Because here's the raw truth. Christine doesn't trust Janelle's execution. She's seen Janelle start grand projects before. And when they needed finishing, it was Christine who rolled up her sleeves while Janelle got credit for being the dreamer. That scar hasn't healed. So when Christine hears Janelle talk about this land like it's the next gathering spot for kids and grandkids, she doesn't feel excited. She feels used. But here's the brutal truth. This battle isn't about soil or houses or even family gatherings. It's about who gets to be remembered as the true heart of the Brown family, and only one woman can hold that crown. Christine has always been that heart. She was the one baking the bread, decorating for Christmas, pulling together parties, and making sure the kids across households felt like one family. She was the gatherer. That was her identity. Janelle, in contrast, was the worker bee, the career woman who admitted she wasn't a hands-on mom in the early years. She relied heavily on Christine to raise her children, and while Christine agreed to it at the time, the resentment has been brewing for decades. Now, fast forward to the present, and suddenly Janelle is talking about building the ultimate gathering place. To Christine, that's not just an idea, that's theft. It's Janelle trying to rewrite history and step into Christine's role. And let's not forget the irony. Neither of these women is truly a homesteader. Janelle talks about self-sufficiency in farmland, but when she had her chance at Coyote Pass, she bought an RV and lasted only a few months before realizing the hardships outweighed the Instagram aesthetic. She now lives comfortably with Maddie and Caleb in North Carolina, exactly living off the land. Christine, too, thrives in suburbia, not in fields or farmhouses. She loves her vacation rentals, her cozy home with David, her life of comfort. Yet the show frames their clash as if it's a battle of lifestyle values. The rugged farm girl versus the suburban homemaker. The surface narrative. But the deeper truth. It's about legacy. It's about who, decades from now, the children and grandchildren will say was the real matriarch who carried the Brown family forward. And that's why Christine's sarcasm stung so hard. Her gang wars joke wasn't just casual humor, it was a dagger. She sees Janelle's land project as a direct challenge to her own identity, her own story. It's Christine's way of saying, you can build all the barns you want, but you'll never replace me as the heart of this family. So don't be fooled, this isn't about land. This is about legacy. This is about which woman rewrites the Brown family's history with her name, etched in bold, and which one fades into the background as just another ex-wife of Cody Brown. Christine, right now, is winning in every visible category. She has David, who not only matches but surpasses Cody in stability and presence. She has her dream home, a set of profitable vacation rentals, the spotlight of being a breakout star from Sister Wives, and the admiration of fans who see her as the woman who finally broke free. Her book is selling, her social media is thriving, and every new episode paints her as empowered, evolved, and strong. Janelle, meanwhile, is in limbo. She has plans, but not results. She has dreams, but not the same tangible wins. And so this land becomes her lifeline, the thing she can hold up and say, look, I too am building a legacy. But the cracks are already showing. Christine doesn't buy it. Christine doesn't support it. And if Christine refuses to stand behind Janelle's dream, then the whole vision risks collapsing before it ever begins. That's why the so-called friendship between Christine and Janelle is a fragile house of cards. On the surface, they're allies, clinking glasses and rolling their eyes at Cody's failures. But underneath, they're rivals. Rivals over territory. Rivals over identity. Rivals over who gets to claim the title of the family matriarch in this post-Cody era. And the truth is, there can only be one. One woman will be remembered as the anchor of the Brown family's next chapter. The one whose children and grandchildren carry the torch. The other, she faded quietly into the background, known only as another woman who escaped Cody, but not the one who rose above. And that's the unspoken war that makes every scene between Christine and Janelle drip with tension. The most dangerous wars aren't fought with weapons, they're fought with stories. And right now, Christine and Janelle are battling to control the Brown family's story. When you strip away the laughter, the wine glasses, the sisterly smiles, what you're left with is raw competition. Christine and Janelle are no longer just women who escaped a broken marriage. They are symbols of two very different futures for this fractured family. Christine embodies reinvention. She is the phoenix who burned down her old life and rose with something better. A husband who treats her as an equal. businesses that give her financial independence, and a fan base that cheers her every move. She represents triumph. Janelle, on the other hand, embodies resilience. She didn't leave Cody in a blaze of glory. She drifted quietly, stubbornly, without fanfare. She represents survival. And here's the cruel reality. Survival doesn't get the same applause as triumph. That's why Janelle clings so tightly to this land. For her, it's not dirt and acreage, her shot at writing herself into the legacy. It's her attempt to say, I mattered too. But Christine doesn't want to share that spotlight. Not with Janelle. Not with anyone. And you can feel it in every subtle jab, every side eye, every sarcastic joke. Christine has built an empire out of being the one who broke free, and Janelle threatens that narrative simply by existing as a quieter, less glamorous but equally valid alternative. Because if Janelle can create her gathering place and become the new family matriarch, then suddenly Christine isn't the only success story. Suddenly the applause gets divided. And Christine knows this even if she'd never admit it out loud. Here's the twist no one sees coming. The true rivalry isn't between Christine and Janelle at all. It's between David and Cody. Think about it. Every single comparison the audience makes isn't really about land or lifestyle or legacy, it's about men. Christine won the husband lottery in round 2. David is stable, present, grounded, the opposite of Cody's chaotic energy. Fans look at him and say, finally, she has a real partner. That comparison doesn't just humiliate Cody, it elevates Christine. And every time David shows up on screen.com and supportive, Cody shrinks further in memory. That makes Christine's new life shine brighter, and by extension, it makes Janelle's look dimmer. Because Janelle doesn't have a David. She doesn't have a new love story to prop her up in the narrative. She has land, she has kids, she has dreams, but no romantic redemption arc. And in television storytelling, romance is currency. Christine has it. Janelle doesn't. This is why the land battle is so important. For Janelle, building that property is her way of creating a narrative as powerful as Christine's marriage. If Christine can say, I left Cody and found a man who loves me, Janelle wants to say, I left Cody and built a legacy bigger than his. But here's where it stings. Christine doesn't believe Janelle can pull it off. She sees the holes, the lack of infrastructure, the history of unfinished projects. She doubts Janelle's ability to execute. And every doubt Christine whispers or jokes about chips away at Janelle's credibility. It's psychological warfare, and Janelle feels it. In the end, this isn't a friendship. It's a coronation. And only one woman will wear the crown of the Brown family's future. Christine has already claimed her throne in the eyes of the public. She's the woman who left and thrived. The one with a new husband, a new life, and new success. Janelle is still fighting for hers, clutching at acreage and visions of a family compound that may never come to fruition. And that imbalance is exactly why every scene between them hums with unspoken tension. They can laugh together. Yes, they can drink wine and roll their eyes at Cody, but beneath that camaraderie lies a quiet, ruthless rivalry. Christine will never let Janelle eclipse her. Janelle will never stop trying to prove she can stand shoulder to shoulder with Christine. And so the story marches on, not as a tale of sisterhood, but as a saga of succession. Who will future generations of Browns gather around? Whose name will be etched into the family's lore? Christine, the reinvented queen who left Cody in the dust? Or Janelle, the survivor, who refuses to fade quietly? One thing is certain, this isn't just reality television anymore, it's a battle for legacy. And the cameras are catching every dagger smile, every loaded laugh, every subtle war cry. Christine versus Janelle isn't just entertainment, it's history being written in real time. The cruelest villain in this saga isn't Cody. It isn't Christine. It isn't Janelle. The real villain is the storyline itself, the machine that feeds off their wounds and serves it to millions as entertainment. For years, Sister Wives has thrived on turning private fractures into public spectacle. What started as a show about plural marriage has mutated into a gladiator pit, where women like Christine and Janelle are forced to battle not just for Cody's affection, but now for narrative dominance. And here's the most twisted part. The producers know exactly where to cut. They know Christine's sensitivity to being called a princess. They know Janelle's defensiveness about being seen as bossy. They know David's presence sparks comparisons to Cody. And they poke those bruises like open wounds, over and over, because conflict makes good television. The women may laugh on screen, they may clink glasses, but behind those smiles lies a cruel truth. They are puppets in a show that thrives on turning their pain into a storyline. The audience gets fed a picture of two best friends who survived Cody together. But what's really happening is a competition disguised as companionship. Christine gets the shiny redemption arc. New love, new marriage, a New York Times best-selling book. Janelle gets the rugged survivor arc. Raw land, big dreams, quiet endurance. On paper, it seems fair. In reality, one story always overshadows the other, because this show doesn't crown two queens, it crowns one. Christine feels Janelle stepping into her territory by trying to build a family gathering spot. Janelle feels Christine dismissing her vision as impractical and shallow. These feelings aren't created in a vacuum, they are magnified by cameras, by editing, by confessionals designed to make subtle digs sound like bombs. And here's the twist that no one dares to say out loud without the cameras. Christine and Janelle might not even be friends at all. Think about it. Their history together isn't built on laughter and support. It's built on survival in a marriage where they were constantly competing for scraps of Cody's attention. Christine resented Janelle for being bossy, for piling childcare and household responsibilities onto her shoulders. Janelle resented Christine's theatrics, her so-called princess behavior, her flair for drama. Decades of low-level animosity don't just vanish overnight. They linger like ghosts. The show keeps asking them to toast wine glasses and pose as sisters in solidarity. But the truth bleeds through in their body language, in the sharpness of their words, in the way their compliments are always poisoned with a but. Christine smiles when she talks about her house and her husband, but her eyes narrow when Janelle mentions building a legacy farm. Janelle keeps her tone even, but slips in backhanded descriptions of David as blustery or ego-driven, planting seeds of doubt about Christine's new happiness. These aren't accidents. They are the cracks of a friendship that isn't really friendship, it's rivalry wrapped in the costume of loyalty. And the cameras drink it up because conflict is profitable. The tragedy is that Christine and Janelle have started to believe the performance. At the end of the day, Sister Wives doesn't just document their lives, it scripts their war. And Christine and Janelle aren't allies. They're contestants. Every toast to the dream, every awkward laugh on raw land in North Carolina, every side eye when David cracks a joke hit, all feeds a machine that wants one outcome: rivalry. The producers want Christine's fans to cheer her new marriage. They want Janelle's fans to root for her land project. They want arguments over who's the true matriarch, who's the real survivor, who's the bigger inspiration. Because division equals ratings. And the women, whether they admit it or not, are trapped in that cycle. Christine cannot afford to let Janelle eclipse her because her entire empire is built on being the one who won by leaving Cody and thriving. Janelle cannot afford to let Christine dismiss her because her entire identity now rests on proving she can build something lasting after Cody. So when you strip away the fake smiles and the TLC editing, what do you see? Not friendship, not solidarity, not sisterhood. You see a rivalry as old as the Brown family itself. Two women still fighting. Not for Cody anymore, but for the crown of who gets remembered as the matriarch of the post-Cody empire. And here's the most shocking truth. This rivalry may never end. Because as long as the cameras roll, Christine and Janelle will never just be women. They'll always be storylines. And storylines are designed to clash. This isn't about land. This isn't about houses. This isn't even about David. This is about legacy, about who gets to write the final chapter of the Brown Empire. Christine has positioned herself as the one who escaped and flourished. She's the heroine who walked away from Cody, found new love, and built a life that screams victory. Every Instagram post with David, every wedding photo, felt every triumphant book signing is designed to cement her image as the woman who not only survived, but conquered. Janelle, on the other hand, doesn't have the flashy love story. She doesn't have the romantic redemption arc. What she has is the dream of building something physical, rooted, undeniable. In her mind, if she creates a farm that her children and grandchildren inherit, then Shanat Kristen becomes the matriarch who left a lasting mark. That's why she fights so hard for her vision. That's why she bristles when Christine dismisses it as unrealistic. Because to Janelle, the land isn't just dirt teats her crown. Christine built a brand. Janelle wants to build a kingdom, and the two visions cannot coexist. Christine's empire is built on visibility, TV cameras, social media, cookbooks, her image as the beloved rebel. For her story to shine, she needs the spotlight. She needs to be the one fans root for, the one whose happiness feels like justice. Janelle's dream, however, threatens that spotlight. A farm, a family compound. A literal new Coyote Passett reframes the narrative from Christine the victor to Janelle the builder. Imagine the optics. Family holidays at Janelle's homestead. Kids playing in fields, grandchildren gathering at a legacy property. Suddenly, Christine's suburban glow doesn't look like the empirate, looks like the side story. That's the nightmare for Christine, being remembered as the ex-wife who got a happy ending. While Janelle becomes the woman who actually built something that lasts. So make no mistake, this isn't sisterhood anymore. It's succession. Every conversation about houses, every jab about money, every dig about David's ego or Janelle's dreams is really a coded battle over legacy. Christine wants her narrative to be the Brown family's epilogue. She left, she won, the end. Janelle wants her narrative to be the rebirth. She stayed, she rebuilt, she defined the future. And here's the bombshell. Only one of them can win. Because in the story of Sister Wives, there can't be two matriarchs. The cameras, the fans, the culture, they'll crown one. Either Christine, the rebel queen who escaped, or Janelle, the land baroness who built. That's the war we're watching now, and it's far bloodier than anything Cody ever orchestrated. In the war for legacy, children aren't just family, they're trophies. And Christine and Janelle are fighting for who gets to display the bigger, shinier case. Look closely at how each woman frames her children. Christine constantly presents hers as proof that leaving Cody was the best decision she ever made. Her daughters stand beside her at the wedding, her son beams in family photos, her kids gush online about how happy she looks. Every smile, every hug. Every public appearance becomes a living endorsement. Christine chose freedom, and her children flourished. Janelle, however, leans on a different kind of validation. She points to her boys who defend her daughters who support the land dream. The way her children rally to help her build something real. She frames it as generational stability. Her kids aren't just following her, they're investing in her future vision. To Janelle, that's power. Not a wedding dress. Not Instagram likes. But sons and daughters who help pour foundations, plant gardens, and stand with her in the dirt that she swears will become their inheritance. But here's the twist. Every child who chooses a side isn't just lifting one mother up. They're quietly tearing the other one down. If Christine's kids gush about David and praise her new marriage, it subtly undercuts Janelle's narrative that the land is the real future. If Janelle's kids roll their eyes at Christine's wedding or dismiss her suburban lifestyle as shallow, it chips away at Christine's perfect story. The battlefield has expanded from kitchen tables and family meetings to Instagram feeds, college visits and holiday gatherings to visits who spends Christmas where, who posts what caption. It all feeds the machine. Christine beams when her kids endorse David as dad too. 0. Janelle beams when her boys talk about working the land or building their own cabins. Every kid becomes a soldier in this war even if they don't